So UFC 318 happened last night, and the card was just chaos. There's so many good fights, so many fights that I couldn't nail down. I got all of the early prelims and prelims fights right. I got all those picks right, but the fucking main card, man. How do you predict Johnson versus Zellhuber? How do you do Costa versus Kopylov? I would have never predicted that, but anyways, yeah, first fight, easy pick. Junis, I'm not gonna go too much into that one. I don't care that much. Ferreira, that was an easy pick. I don't know why Ferreira's fighting down. I was initially picking McVeigh, but then I changed last second. I was like, wait, this guy, this is his debut fight. I've never heard of this guy before. He's 6-0. Ferreira's the guy that knocked out Gregory Rodriguez, with one punch in the first round. There's no way I'm not picking him. And then Span versus Bresky, that was a hard fight to pick because both those guys are just terrible. But I went with Span just because he's black, and you have to add the melanin points. Melanin points always come in handy when you're kind of 50-50, you don't know who to pick. Always pick the black guy in that scenario. So yeah, Span gets it done. His first win at heavyweight. He's not going to make it far, but they need to cut Lucas Bresky now because he's done. So, yeah, next fight, Crute versus Prakinio. Another fight hard to predict because they're both shit. But I just figured I know Crute more than I know Prakinio. I can't remember the last time Prakinio won. Whereas Crute, he gets knocked out a lot. He got knocked out by Jamal Hill, but I just figured he's probably just going to get it done. I did not predict the armbar, though, so that was cool from Crute. Next fight, easy fight to pick. Dulatov versus Fugit. Incel versus Giga Chad phenotype. Who are you going to pick? You're going to pick the actual Giga Chad, the male model. He's a male model. I searched after the fact. He is a male model. Completely mogs Fugit and brutalizes him with the ground and pound, knocks him out. Brutal finish. Next, we go to the prelims. So I get all the early prelims right. Prelims, Ateba Gautier versus Robert Valentine. I made a video about Ateba Gautier. This is an easy fight to predict. Again, West Africans, the West African genetics. If you're West African or you're black, you know, okay? You already know this stuff. It's other non-believers. For some reason, West Africa, Nigeria, Cameroon, Ghana, Senegal, Togo, Benin, this area of West Africa produces genetic specimens that will just knock you out. They might not be, good wrestlers in the way that the Caucasus are, but I don't think that's due to genetics. I just think that's due to culture. There's a big wrestling culture in the Caucasus, not so much in West Africa. If there was a big wrestling culture in West Africa, the way there was, in Dagestan and in Armenia, Georgia, and in those areas, it would be fucking over. It would be fucking over. And the crazy thing is that these countries in West Africa are very underdeveloped and poor. The fact that you got guys like Ngannou and now Ateba Gautier just coming onto the scene, when these countries develop more and they become more wealthier, you're going to get more fighters from these regions. Very powerful fighters. The fast twitch muscle, the West African genetics, it's something else. And it's just West Africa. We're not talking about North Africa with, Morocco and Algeria, the Arab countries. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about East Africa with the fucking Somalians and Ethiopians. Who knows? They might be good, but we haven't seen fighters from East Africa. And not really South Africa, of course, the country South Africa. We get a lot of white fighters from South Africa, like DDP and some others. But we don't see guys from Namibia, Botswana, these areas. They're not as strong. West Africa, that's the region you got to keep an eye for. So Ateba Gautier, I think he will make it far until he comes against a grappler. He will probably lose against a grappler at first, and then he's going to just train grappling, takedown defense, and then at that point, after he loses to some guy, he's going to be unstoppable. The next few opponents that the UFC puts him up against, they're going to all be brutally knocked out. I don't see him losing anytime soon. So keep your eye out on a Teba Gautier. That's big prospect you got to look out for. Next, Prado versus Veretennikov. I picked Veretennikov just because he has an OV at the end of his name. But at first I thought it was a robbery. But rewatching the second round, I did give it to Veretennikov just because he threw more knees, he did more damage, and that big slam, I think, gave him the round. But he lost round 3. He won rounds 1. He edged it in round 2, but he lost round 3. And that's why I thought it was a robbery at first. But it was a good pick on my part. And I think this is the time where I lost power, so I couldn't stream the whole card. And I think from now on, I'm just going to stream the main card from now on. Unless there's like some prelim fight that I'm really hyped for, I might start it there. But the thing I don't like about the UFC lately is just like there's so much downtime in between fights and it just takes forever. Like Gautier, he gets the first knockout in the first round, and then you have to wait the other 12 or 13 minutes for like the other 2 rounds that didn't happen for then to see the walkouts between the next fight. And then from prelims to the main card, it just feels like you're waiting 30 minutes. And there's just so much downtime in between fights. I'm just going to do the main card now for my streams. I'm not going to start at early prelims. I might do like the last 2 prelims, but I'm not going to do a 7.5 hour stream just to be on my phone while there's just so much dead space in between my streams. Unless my streams, I get bigger and bigger and grow more successful, then I'll probably like start talking to chat once I start getting viewers and subscribers. But until now, I'm just going to do the main card reactions. But yeah, anyways, Vettori versus Allen. Beautiful fight, great fight. I feel bad for Vettori because, he put it his all. He's just not, he's an orc. And orcs don't have the best fight IQ. He hits hard, but he doesn't know how to throw his shots. And Brendan Allen Allen's a fucking retard himself. He makes a lot of mistakes too, but he's still a human. Brendan Allen is a human at the end of the day, and Vettori he isn't. He wants to conquer all of Gondor, and you can't do that with a small orc pea brain that he has. And Brendan Allen just picked him apart. There was more damage on Vettori's face. He was bleeding more, and Brendan Allen nudged it. Next fight, my last fight that I got right, Phillips versus Oliveira. Oliveira has weird style, weird head movement. But Phillips he looks scared. He was just on the back foot the whole time, running away. Oliveira, I don't think he's going to make it far in bantamweight. He's going to get taken down by some grapplers. But good win from Oliveira. Not super hyped for him the way that I am for some other guys, like, Gautier or Dulatov. But we'll see how far he makes it. And then the main card. This is where it all goes downhill. I got every single fight on the main card wrong. Now, some of these I can look in hindsight and say, okay, that makes sense. But Johnson versus Zellhuber, man, there's not a universe in which I would have ever picked Johnson to win. All the attributes are stacked against him. Height, disadvantage, reach, disadvantage, age. Again, maybe the melanin points just have to triumph overall. Because he dropped Zellhuber, and my stream was like lagging, so I couldn't even see the knockdown. But Zellhuber went to war against Ribovich, and I just thought that, well, if he went to war against Ribovich, the guy that brutally knocked out McKinney in the first round via head kick, he's probably just going to win on points. But no, Johnson does it, man. Unk power. He's an unk. And, yeah, he's going to ride it out. So, hyped for Johnson. We'll see where he goes after this. And then the next fight, Ige versus Pitbull. This is a fight that, looking in hindsight, I probably should have edged it on to Pitbull. Ige was never really a super good fighter. Knocking out Sean Woodson is that's a good feat, but we got to remember Pitbull was a champ himself. And losing to Yair Rodriguez, it's a stylistic matchup. They're both Ige and Pitbull are both the same height. They're both the same build. And Pitbull has been in some wars, and he's a good fighter. So I probably should have just given it to Pitbull, but what can you do? Next fight, Holland versus Rodriguez. Again, the Unk power. Rodriguez looks like a stall door. Just way too many, like an MS-13 member or something. He's just way too many tattoos, but that was a war fight. This is why I love MMA, because of fights like that. Because of fights like Holland and Rodriguez, because of fights like Vettori, Allen. People were complaining on Reddit, like, oh, nobody can get the finish. Not every fight needs to have a finish. That was a good fight, but Holland, I picked him because of his last 2 wins, but I shouldn't have picked him because there is such a thing as too much activity. Too much inactivity is bad, but fighting too soon is also bad. He's probably not doing super technical training camps. He's probably not watching too much tape of his opponents. Do you really think Kevin Holland is rewatching all of the D-Rod fights, analyzing him, picking him apart? Probably not. He's probably not doing that. D-Rod probably isn't himself, but D-Rod last knocked out Ponzinibbio, so the space between the fights is different. He's had more time to prepare. He's had more time to get his body accustomed to heal any kind of damage that he took in that fight. Whereas Holland, he's just too active. He needs to take a chill pill. Take a little, maybe an extra month break in between. Then you can go on and fight again. So, yeah, Rodriguez, good win for him. But keep him away from ice. That's all I say. Keep him away from ice. Okay, the co-main event, Costa versus Kopylov. I picked Kopylov because I bought into the stoic Russian hype. A stoic Russian versus a goofy Brazilian. We last saw this between Johnny Walker and Magomed Ankalaev. Costa hasn't won a good fight, since Romero. And the only fight he's won in the past 3 or 4 years was against Rockhold. So I was like, okay, well, Costa's done. He's got to be done. He's fighting an up-and-comer Kopylov who's on a win streak, who's on a tear, who's good, who lost to Fluffy Hernandez. But Fluffy Hernandez is a pressure wrestler. That's not what Costa is. I figured Kopylov's going to win. I think most people pick Kopylov. Most of the MMA YouTubers pick Kopylov. I couldn't find one that picked Costa. So, yeah, the Costa of old came back. Who would have known? I thought Costa was truly done, but he survived. And this was a much-needed win for Costa. If Costa had lost this, he wouldn't have been cut because, like I mentioned before, UFC, they don't cut fighters that are entertaining in terms of their personality because, look, Tai Tuivasa is still around. And Costa is a funny guy, so they wouldn't have cut him just yet, but he would have been fighting the bottom of the barrel guys at middleweight. Or maybe they would have put him up against Gautier just as a sacrificial lamb. But much needed win for Costa, good for him. He survives. He's still in it. We move on to the main event. I picked Poirier. And, yeah. It was a tremendous fight between Holloway and Poirier. I was leaning either way. It was a 50-50 fight, in my opinion. But sensational fight. He almost got it, man. Poirier almost got it. He got knocked down in the first round. Then he knocks Holloway down in, the second or the third? And then he went for the ghillie in the fifth round, which I knew he wasn't going to get it. And then Holloway points to the floor at the end. I don't know how Holloway still has so much energy left for the last few seconds, but he does. He's just so fast, and he was going to knock him out if Poirier didn't go for the clinch. But yeah, Poirier's done, his retirement fight. It's kind of sad to see him lose, but it's actually good for the division because now Holloway, there's options for him. Holloway does not deserve a title shot with Topuria, no. Do not say that he does, because I've already seen thumbnails and comments of people saying that, oh, Holloway's going to fight Topuria. No, not yet. I would say Holloway needs 2 more wins. He needs 2 more wins. You brutally lost to Topuria. You do not deserve to fight him at lightweight until you win 2 more times against top-level people. Or at least a big win against Sarukian, and then he could be a backup fighter for maybe a Pimblett or something by that time. But they're probably going to do Holloway versus Oliveira next, which I do think is the right choice. Do that rematch. If Holloway wins the Oliveira rematch, then they could do Holloway versus someone in the top 3. And if Holloway wins in the top 3, then fine. Give him a rematch with Topuria, or a title shot with whoever's the champion by that point. He's still young-ish. I do think Topuria brutally knocks Holloway out again at 155. But, yeah, good one for Holloway. We still get to see him. He is not the next Tony Ferguson. He is blessed Holloway. So, yeah, UFC 318, good card, chaotic card. That's the way I can describe this card. A card of chaos. And we've got DeRitter versus Whitaker in 6 days. So that's going to be exciting. And I'm still rewatching the Usyk knockout of Dubois, which was great. So, yeah, that's all I've got. Like, subscribe, comment. Peace out.